talk to each other. Yeah, we came into the food, like, asking for all this and all turn, and I look, and Rob's like, right where you are? And then I just went so slow, and I smoked, and they cut, and I went to get some now. It was fast. Okay, to be good, right?
I'll go. To get my pencil.
Get out. Really? Where? Get out. Really? And?
Well, we don't know.
But I mean, no, I think. Are they good? Get out. I guess you can.
No, we don't.
I used to be in the music industry.
You want help? You want to go around? I'll go for the stairs. Okay. You want to see it? Show you.
I guess if you turn it on,
I didn't set up. Hey, you're doing great. Hey, so
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and thank you for everyone for your attendance here this evening. I would first like to begin with a land acknowledgement. Jasper Park Chamber of Commerce respectfully acknowledges that Jasper is on Treaty 6 and Treaty 8 territories, as well as Jasper House Métis District. This land is traditional territory, meeting ground, gathering place, traveling route, and home for the Dene, the Asiniwi Jiwinwa, Asenewa Chinois, Niya, Naheawak, Anishinaabe, Sukwentwak, Stony Nakota, Mountain Métis, and Métis. I'd formally like to welcome all the candidates for attending this evening's forum. Mr. Adam Hizik advised us soon as we announced the date for the forum that he would be unable to attend to previous commitments. I would like to acknowledge that this is a difficult and stressful process for all the candidates in front of you, having been here myself in 2017. We have done our best to plan the event and be positive and constructive for all candidates and the audience alike. I've asked that partly in hopes that applause during the evening, once questions start, will be restrained so we can maintain the evening's flow. As I said that, I would like to ask for a round of applause and congratulate all candidates in front of you for their willingness to let your name stand and for being here this evening. A few words about our process here this evening. We hope within the addition of our hour meet and greet with all the candidates in advance of the forum has provided a valuable opportunity to connect with the candidates and discuss some of your questions in person. Additionally, candidate profiles have been provided on the Chamber's website. We do have some QR codes around the room. With these additions to the process, we felt that we could forego the traditional self-introductions and opening statements to allow more time for valuable questions. Previous experience has demonstrated that taking questions from the floor can be difficult to manage, especially with so many candidates here this evening. So this time around, we asked for questions in advance, and we thank you to all those provided those questions. We've collected those that were submitted for the evening's purpose. We have edited them in some cases for length, conciseness, and clarity. Please note that all questions that were submitted will be posted on the Jasper Park Chamber of Commerce's website in the original Word for anyone that may wish to see all the questions we received. We have also edited and minimized positioning, opinionating, and leading questions. I think we're all anxious to hear the views of the candidates in front of you and not necessarily those of the questionnaires. And have consolidated and combined in case of some repeat topics. Time management. To expect all questions to be answered this evening by the candidates was not realistic. Therefore, each question, we will select 3 candidates at random. I will select the 3 names prior to asking the question, and we'll continue this process throughout the evening, allowing for 1 minute for each answer. In case the question is directed specifically to incumbents, we will allow this exception to the random selection and work in alphabetical order. Following the answers by the chosen candidates, there will be an opportunity for brief follow-up from a selection of other candidates who may wish to comment, allowing 30 seconds for each follow-up. Our goal throughout this evening's 2 hours is to provide, so far as we're able, equal opportunity to all candidates to be heard. In order to get through a reasonable number of questions, in order to maintain fairness, responses will be brief and enforcement of time limitations will be rigid. The 2 lovely ladies at the front, along with assistance from myself. Candidates will be given 15 seconds, again, for a warning, and after that, allotted time, they'll get a response from myself, and then which I'll look to my left and give a nod to Tim. We appreciate the challenge to candidates inherent in the process, and we ask the candidates and the audience for your understanding. Without further ado, please allow me to introduce our candidates here this evening in alphabetical order. Paco Arteaga, Stephen Brake, Danny Frechette, Wendy Hall, Shawnee James Wilson, Helen Keller-Empey, Ashley Cleaver, Cable Kongscrud, Yves Marchant, Neil Mintz, Ralph Melnick, Lori Roger, Jason Stockvis, Jillian Thomas, or Gilly, Theodore Ted Turnbull, and Kathleen Waxer. With those introductions being put forth, our first question, all candidates, working in alphabetical order, will be given 1.25 minutes to answer. There will not be any follow-up questions to this, but we'll start with Mr. Paco Arteaga. Municipal, financial, and fiscal management is a topic of concern to members of the Jasper Park Chamber of Commerce. Please outline your approach with respect to financial and fiscal responsibility, accountability, transparency, and equity.
Thank you, Troy. Before I go on, I'd like to thank everybody for signing up and everybody for coming out. Thank you very much. For those of you that don't know me, I am Paco Arteaga. I'm 35 years old. I work at Earl's. I like to say that. My wife owns Earl's, so she's my boss. I work and at home, okay? I do have 2 kids, 13 and 12. And going back to the question, I don't think the council has been transparent enough with their transactions. To my knowledge, all the council meetings are broadcast for public viewing, whether live or anytime, whether you watch them live or anytime you would like to watch. When I got the answer, or the question, sorry, I wrote down, are you insinuating that they've been having meetings away from the public eye? I am not sure, and I am not here to point fingers. As a town, we must spend money to stay alive. Unfortunately, when decisions are made by our leaders, sometimes not all of us agree with it, but there is a reason why we voted them in. The last 4 years, he was really...
Thank you, Mr. Arteaga. Mr. Stephen Brake.
And transparency and accountability. Oh, by the way, I'm Stephen Brake. Transparency and accountability and responsible budgeting are priorities for me. We need to ask more questions before we commit to major spending projects and ensure we have a clear understanding of future obligations. Just spending money for the sake of spending money is not what I'm here for.
Thank you, Stephen. Danny Frechette.
Yes, good evening. Okay, that's a wrap. Anyhow, I didn't do that. Maybe the bills were paid. No, I think that we have unusual times these days, and I think that we shouldn't be quick to jump to conclusions as to which direction we should go. I think that we have to take some time to reflect on where we're going to go, and I think council has got a good grip on what's happening financially, both in transparency and with itemizing issues that are of importance. We've seen that in the last exercise that was put together to elevate what our priorities would be. And I think that showed great transparency, and if you got involved, if you participated, then I think you're well aware of what's happening and what our choices will be.
Thank you very much, Danny. Wendy Hall.
Financial responsibility isn't about cutting for the sake of cutting. It's about planning wisely and protecting the future. In 2020, previous council, faced with the uncertainty of COVID, made the very difficult decision to cut $1 million from our budget, and we've been catching up ever since. Over this term, I've worked hard to rebuild stability and restore balance. That means realistic budgets, smart investments, and a focus on value, not just savings. We've secured new grants, built partnerships, and stretched local dollars further so we can keep moving forward without overburdening taxpayers. Accountability and transparency are fundamental. Residents deserve to know where every dollar goes and to trust that council is making informed, responsible decisions. Municipal governments are, in fact, the most transparent level of government. Our budgets are debated in full public view, under close scrutiny, and we actively listen to residents throughout the budget process. And equity matters too, making sure our financial decisions support everyone in Jasper, families, seniors, and business community alike. At the end of the day, fiscal responsibility is about trust. It's about protecting taxpayer dollars while still building the Jasper we all believe in. I'm proud of the progress we've made, but I know there's more to do, and with your support, I'll continue to bring that steady, informed voice to the table.
Thank you very much, Wendy Hall. Sinead James Wilson.
Thank you, Troy. I have dry mouth, so bear with me. I believe fiscal equity means ensuring the burden of taxation and spending, that it is shared fairly between residents and businesses, with fresh eyes and an open mind. Responsible fiscal management comes with tough choices, which I'm prepared to do. Reevaluating budget priorities post-wildfire to ensure we are spending wisely and supporting recovery. That's what I want. I want to be held accountable, not just for decisions that are made, but how I listen and respond to community concerns. That includes being clear about what's possible, what's not, and why. I'll advocate communication around budget decisions, tax impacts, and how provincial funding is used. I may be new to municipal politics, but I am not new to listening, learning, and taking action. I want to build trust by showing up, asking questions, and making decisions that reflect the values and integrity of this great community. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanae. Helen Keller MP.
Thank you. Fiscal responsibility. I've been on council 12 years, and I was one of the councillors that cut the budget during COVID, and as we need to make that up over the years, I do believe going forward we have to be fiscally responsible. The outcome of our debt over the last 12 years, especially in the last 4, is due to the wildfire recovery, our capital expenses. That's the arena, the activity centre and the aquatic centre that we renovated. We've done a lot of upgrades to our wastewater treatment plant, and we're paying now policing costs that we never had to do before. So going forward, our Jasper recovery programs are all covered right now through grants. We will have to put some programs in place in order to move our community forward for the next 4 years and to take our recovery to our new normal.
Thank you, Helen. Ashley Cleaver.
Hello. Wow, look at everybody up here and out there. Living in a small community within a national park, we face unique challenges and opportunities every day. Our municipal government is constantly striving to meet the needs of a diverse community of residents and businesses, all while supporting the millions who visit us every year, an impossible balance to achieve. For me, accountability comes from open communication. People should always know and understand where the money is coming and going from. Responsibility means balancing immediate needs with long-term planning. And transparency thrives when good, productive questions are encouraged, but progress also depends on timely decisions that keep Jasper moving forward. Council is 7 of your peers who have stepped up to serve. My business experience has taught me the value of hiring good people, treating them well, and trusting them to do their jobs. The same applies here. Council provides direction, trusts administration to execute, and stays accountable to the community. I want to thank the previous council for their grit and grace through these incredibly challenging years.
Thank you, Ashley. Cable Kongsrud.
Hi folks, I'm Cable. Looking at the Muni's finances, I'd like to look at them the same way as I treat my own. You ask, do I really need this? Is it a need or a want? Can I afford it and still have money for an emergency and still have a good buffer? I believe we should be putting money away, if we are not already, for some of the rainy day projects like possibly the infrastructure and the sewer lines that I believe are like 100 years old. And when they need to be replaced, they need to be replaced. Is it gonna serve me in the future, and how much will it cost to maintain? If we do a project, try our hardest to get it done on time and on budget. And when we do handle contracts, we need someone as shrewd and knowledgeable and dedicated as the contractor to oversee the projects we are investing in. We must get good value for the money we're spending. Thank you.
Thank you, Cable. Yves Marchand.
Good evening, all residents and nominees. Bonsoir les francophones. Close to 38 years living in Jasper, time for me to run for a seat on municipal services with Mayor Mr. Ireland and the newly elected council. I'm ready to work on all aspects of administration, budget, revenue, and of course, spending, guided by what we can afford. We must recognize sometime on spending and efficiency and the response on some degree to be able to say no to some project doesn't reflect residents and businesses. Jasper face real financial challenge for limited tax revenue on vacant lot for the next 4 to 10 years, and some tough decision has to be taken. Our level of debt by each individual.
Thanks very much, Eve. Just as a friendly reminder, as we go halfway through, the two ladies in the front with a 15-second warning. We will go to Neil Meitz.
Good evening, everyone. Let me say I share the Chamber's concern. Over the last few years, we've all watched taxes climb, while spending hasn't always reflected our priorities. The previous council made choices that, quite frankly, did not always put taxpayers first. I believe it's time for more accountability, transparency, and responsible budgeting, because every tax dollar matters. I believe we can balance smart spending with compassion and support, growth without burdening taxpayers. We can and should rebuild in a way that's both responsible and resilient. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Ralph Melnick.
Thank you, Troy, and thank you for everyone coming here tonight. Council has a responsibility to address both the needs and the wants of the community. Our annual budget, developed with the municipal administration, ensures that we cover the needs of the community. Those needs range from the operation of our daycare, snow clearing in the winter, the operation of our various facilities, including the aquatic and fitness center, this activity center, the availability of the ice arena for 8 months out of the year, as well as our curling facility. It includes the delivery of quality programs year-round for seniors, youth, and residents in general. It includes the maintenance of our fields for soccer, as well as the baseball fields and our various parks. And I'd like to compliment our park staff, our municipal staff, just how beautiful the community looked this year. The wants of the community are the asks that council get for funding various not-for-profit organizations, arts and cultural, community, and various other organizations and special event funding. The funding supports the fabric of the community. Moving forward, the next council will need to balance the needs of the community as well as the wants of the community. As council...
Thank you, Ralph. Lori Roger.
Well, when I heard the subject of the opening question, I read all the financial statements of the municipality the last couple days. In 2018, the municipal debt was $2 million. In 2023, it was up to $24 million. It's down to $23 million now. Obviously, it's gone up many more times than we could have expected. In return, of course, we got repairs and some renovations to this building and the aquatic center and several other things. Personally, my own taxes have gone up by about 50% over the last 3 or 4 years. So obviously, the debt is, I think, a big concern to this council. The town itself can afford it as long as the debt is paid gradually, but we certainly can't afford to take on more debt. And I think what this council would have to do is be very careful about increasing the debt from where it is and to try to spend the money as wisely as they can. And that's the main reason I'm running for council. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Jason Stockfish.
Well, firstly, I appreciate that a tax burden is money out of people's pockets. However, it needs to be acknowledged that municipalities are limited by the province in ways that they can collect revenue, essentially property taxes and user fees. That's it. The next council will have to take a very close look at equity to ensure that Jasper businesses and residents are contributing a reasonable share toward providing the services that our community values and benefits from. Ultimately, when approaching our finances as a community, we have to consider our needs versus our wants. What does our town of our size that has the type of economy that we have in a location such as ours really need today? And if we're wise in our approach, we'll keep an eye to the future. Like a household plans its budget, we need to consider how long do we put things off before inevitably spending the money? Are we willing to sacrifice needs to save money? Should we be splurging on something we want but don't need? If you wouldn't approach your family's finances that way, and a municipality shouldn't approach its finances that way either. can't just be.
Thank you, Jason. Gilly Thomas.
Hi, I'm Gilly Thomas, and I was raised in Jasper on common sense and hard work. I grew up in the heart of a family-run small business where I learned about fiscal responsibility from my dad and diplomacy from my dad's role as a school principal. Transparency and being accountable are things that are alive and well in me today. I have trouble looking at another council that has so many decisions to make under such a time of pressure and saying that they didn't make good fiscal decisions. When I've gone and asked why different decisions were made, there's interesting answers because there's so many different levels that determine why and where money is spent. If I was elected, I would bring who I am to council with curiosity and a desire to be accountable, transparent, and all those things.
Thank you, Gilly. Ted Turnbull.
Since first moving to Jasper, I've always felt that the council needed a greater diversity in its representation. All forms of life, gender, age, nationality, background, and hopefully moving forward, Jasper can achieve a greater diversity and by having more input from various groups, achieve a greater desired outcome. The need to be open and accountable for the decisions made has long affected me as a renter in this town. Every time council makes a decision that causes an increase in taxes, it trickles down to those that end up renting in this town.
Thank you, Ted. Kathleen Waxer.
Thank you. I believe that council's primary responsibility is to the collective well-being and safety of the residents, and we must constantly balance collective needs with individual or specific interests. We're also responsible for fostering the well-being of the natural environment in our area, as well as providing critical services such as waste management, road maintenance, water and wastewater, emergency management, affordable housing, all of which support the local economy. Our community offers vital community services such as the arena, the swimming pool, the fitness center, Wildflowers childcare, community outreach services, and transit. These vital services elevate the quality of life in Jasper and make it possible for businesses and organizations to attract people to work here and for those people to want to stay here. Recognizing that the well-being of the local economy is inextricably linked with the health and well-being of the residents and vice versa, council this term has managed its fiscal and financial responsibilities with a high degree of transparency by having all budget deliberations in public and managing our assets to get the best possible value from them. I recognize...
Thank you, Kathleen. And thank you to all the candidates for answering that and doing our best to adhere to the minute and a quarter to get everyone's answers in. Our next round of questions, these are all submitted through different channels when we were putting out this evening. So they come from the general public. Just a friendly reminder that we have a minute, 60 seconds. We'll randomly select 3 candidates that are amongst you here this evening. And a friendly reminder from Tommy, if you could do your best to try to have that microphone close to you for our live stream for those unable in attendance. So I'll select 3 names and then read the question. Stephen Brake, Ralph Melnick, Gilly Thomas. And we'll again continue with alphabetical order all evening. So Stephen, Ralph, and then Gilly. The question is, what is your future vision for Jasper over the next 4 years, and how will you measure success by the end of your term?
So what I'd really like is for spending to be reeled in. First of all, like we have the buses that we've procured, the electric buses, and a $5 million grant was given for that. And I just feel that we didn't need these electric buses. We built a shed for $3.2 million. And who parks in there? The Muni's vehicle, which is great, but I've also heard that the PWT buses were parking in there. Frankly, I think we don't really need the electric buses. We need a transport system, but yeah, but not electric buses. It's just the technology is there, but not quite for this climate.
Thank you, Stephen. Ralph Melnick.
Thank you very much. Success in the community over the next year. Every year we get more houses built. Every year we welcome more visitors. Every year we increase the capacity to welcome the visitation to our community. We are a tourism-based economy. We need to have visitors here to support our businesses, to support our community. For me, the next 4 years is all about getting to the rebuild as quickly as possible. We just came through what I thought was going to be the most difficult summer, and we have a very difficult winter coming up where we're going to have less capacity, but we still need to have that visitation. In my last 15 seconds, I'm going to say, we need to collectively rebuild the community as quickly as we can to get back to where we were prior to 2019.
Thank you, Ralph. Gilly Thomas.
I'd really like to see a robust debate about the land use proposal that's going forward that's in town. I agree with what Ralph said about needing to increase visitation so that we can support residents in town. But I also would really like to see targeted build for people who live here so that we have accommodation for seasonal workers, for couples, for families, so people could stay in Jasper long term. And I don't personally think that the land use proposal does that. It's a blanket solution for the problem. It'll build more housing units without actually providing homes for people who need it. The measurement of that success would be, at the end, an agreement from our wonderful town planner to come up with an idea where people do have somewhere to live without Jasper looking like Banff.
Thank you, Gilly. Our next question, I will not be selecting at random. This question, my apologies. Thank you. We have 3 opportunities at follow-up. My apologies. Would there anyone like to follow up to the question, which was, what is your future vision for Jasper over the next 4 years, and how will you measure success by the end of your term? Ashley Cleaver.
Over the next 4 years, I think we've got a great opportunity to really maximize all these resources and eyes that are on Jasper. We have some pretty unique challenges that we face living here and having so many visitors that come here. And this fire has given us, or forced us to really reevaluate how we're going to navigate moving forward. And I think we would judge the success at the quality of life that we have for our residents in Jasper. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Jason Stockfish, your hand was up.
Well, first and foremost, we need everyone housed, right? We need our friends, family members, and neighbors back in our community. They're out there watching right now from various parts of our country. They want to come home. There's nowhere for them to stay. So getting that rebuild done right quick is important. Advocating to the province and the feds for a stream of revenue to help us with our infrastructure is integral, and of course listening and learning to you all so that your voice is heard in council and we're addressing what's important to you.
Thank you, Jason. Ms. Wendy Hall.
Can anyone hear? Okay, thank you, Troy. I agree with what's been said up here. We need to rebuild, we need to get our neighbors home. I wanted to, a point of clarification, we don't have electric buses. We haven't procured electric buses. And that is a conversation for next council. In fact, the motion was changed from electric buses only to low emissions buses.
Thank you, Wendy. As I got a little excited, we'll now roll into question 3 that was submitted. We'll not be selecting any names at random. We will be going through the 4 incumbents alphabetically. I would like to ask the incumbents to explain their justification for extending a municipal employee's contract without notice, off camera, prior to a municipal election. Wendy Hall.
Thank you, and I think it's unfair that I'm always going to go first in these because I'm alphabetical. Transparency and accountability has been priorities for this council from the very beginning. We've live streamed and posted all of our meetings. We highlight delegations in every agenda. We, in fact, have a new website called Engage Jasper. Each of these steps shows our commitment to open, accessible, and responsible local government. Our CAO was hired in 2021 by previous council. There were 2 in-camera meetings leading up to his hiring, and no motions were made coming out of either of those meetings. The CAO attended the Jasper 5th meeting, and at that time, no one questioned the appointment, the process, or the contract. And this year, we took transparency a step further, and on the mayor's insistence, we brought the motion forward in open session so there would be a clear public record. Ironically, that effort to be more transparent became the source of criticism. Jasper Council behaves no differently than any other council in Alberta. Personnel matters are discussed in camera, and that's not secrecy, that's proper governance. At a time where stability and experienced leadership is essential, ensuring continuity in administration was not just the right decision, it was the responsible one.
Thank you, Wendy, and sorry that you're going to be first going alphabetically. Helen Keller, MP.
Thank you for the question. I agree with Councillor Hall that everything for land, legal and labour is done in camera. On this decision, we were out of camera in open session, and we did move forward to go forward with our CAO contract due to the wildfire and for the stability of our community. Nobody knows whether the current mayor at that time or council would get re-voted in, and for the best interest of our community and for continuity, we felt that to move forward, this was the best decision.
Thank you, Helen. Ralph Melnick.
Thank you, Troy. A new council is going to have a lot of things to deal with. Regardless if you're an incumbent or you're not an incumbent, when you get to that point in November, you have budgets, you have training to do, you have many other things that need to be considered to ensure the municipality continues to operate. We just came through a wildfire and we're in uncharted territory for most communities in the province. By maintaining the decision of this council to advance that we should have the mayor do negotiations, which was the motion, is appropriate for the best of the community.
Thank you, Ralph. And finally, Kathleen Waxer.
I agree with everything the other councillors have said, and that it is in fact obligatory that we have the discussion around HR in camera. And we did go one step further by having a motion authorizing the mayor to negotiate with the CAO. The previous council hired the CAO and signed a 5-year contract when they had only 8 months left in their term, and this new council, we're eternally grateful for his leadership in orienting us to this new role, and we believe that it was in the best interest of the community to do so.
Thank you, Kathleen, and thank you to all 4 of you for answering that question. I'd like to ask all candidates up if there is any follow-up. Okay, thank you. We'll proceed to the next question, and I'll go back to selecting 3 names at random. Yves Marchand, Ashley Cleaver, Kathleen Waxer. The question: some displaced seniors feel they have been positioned in last place on prioritization for interim housing. I feel we need to be close by to have oversight in our rebuild. What are your plans to address this shortcoming? And we will start with Ashley Cleaver.
That's a great question and a huge struggle. When we are making decisions and when council is making decisions, you have to make difficult ones at times. Not everyone is going to be happy with every solution, and I can appreciate that in the rebuild and reopening of Jasper, when we already have limited accommodation options, that space is required for people that are actively involved in the current economy. It breaks my heart that we have so many displaced seniors, and I wish I had a quick and easy answer to this, but I hope that we can get this town going and get those rebuilds going so we can get them back, because they do contribute so much to the history and the flavor and the texture of our community.
Thank you, Ashley. Yves Marchand.
To see old people living in Hinton, Edson, Edmonton, away from Jasper, for them is such a hard, not being here to see what's going on, basically. But again, we're looking to where are they gonna stay in town where we need staff for the summertime and stuff like this. I mean, we cannot just build forever apartment for them. Budget-wise, the town cannot just afford to build accommodation for them. So the future will describe what we're gonna do later on.
Thank you, Yves. Kathleen Waxer.
Thank you. I agree with what everyone else has said, and that of course it is absolutely heartbreaking that the seniors have not been able to, not all seniors have been able to return to the community, and as it was said, that they contribute enormously to our volunteer sector and to our history and the well-being of the community. The challenge has been, I know, for the Recovery Center is to set the priorities to ensure that the community can function at its best, and that the businesses can open, and that people have sufficient staff to operate as part of the recovery.
Thank you, Kathleen, Yves, and Ashley for answering those questions. I'd like to ask all candidates if there's any follow-up to that. Ms. Helen Keller-Eppy.
To that, I'm the chair of Evergreen, and I just want to let you know that the Alberta government is working on bringing in housing that should be up and running by the end of October, but it is in Hinton, but we will be able to get our seniors that are Edson and that back to at least the same area by Pine Valley, and we're hoping to break ground on Pine Grove next spring.
Thank you, Helen. Lori Roger.
Seniors can't come back because there's no place to live, but perhaps a bus or something could be set up so that they can visit once or twice a week and spend a couple hours here and see what's going on. That would be something I would back.
Thank you, Lori. Paco Artiega.
I just want to say, I'm hot. I just want to say that when I make the videos post-fire, I got a lot of thank yous from the older people, and I don't know what the solution is, but we need to take care of them because that's why we're here in Jasper. They build it for us, and we need to take care of them.
Thank you, Paco. Time for one more. Ms. Wendy Hall.
Troy. Thank you, Troy. Again, just a point of clarity for Mr. Rogers, there is a regional transit that operates from Hinton to Jasper, I think 6 times a day, and services the Marmot Meadows where displaced residents are living.
Thank you, Wendy. Okay, we will move along to our next question. I'll go back to drawing 3 names at random. Cable Kongsrud, Paco Artiega, Lori Roger. The question, and we will again work in alphabetical order, so Paco, Cable, Lori. Our community's success depends on working well with Parks Canada and federal government, as well as the provincial government. What experience do you bring in navigating these relationships, and how would you approach building strong partnerships across different levels of government, as well as community groups and stakeholders?
Well, as a business owner, we're always dealing with people, and we know how important it is to keep in touch, and we ask questions all the time. So we can approach Parks Canada and the federal government. We can ask for advice, we can ask for money, we can try to keep a good relationship in any way we can.
Thank you, Paco. Cable Kongsrud.
I think I kind of lucked out on this question because I have been dealing with Parks Canada my whole life. And I find, actually, if you approach it properly, they're quite easy to get along with and quite willing to accommodate us if we take the right avenues and do it properly. And as well, that's one of my stands, is I think that the federal government should be kicking in a little more money to the municipality because there's a lot of residents out there that don't participate or earn their living off tourism, and we build a lot of stuff to help the tourism, which helps Parks Canada. Thank you.
Thank you, Cable. Last, Lori Roger.
I guess I lucked out too, because I spent 40 years dealing with Parks Canada for all the different land development and things in Jasper, and I think I'd be a good candidate to be on this council, just my experience in that regard. With the provincial government, not so much, but we've dealt over the years with lots of different departments, social services, that kind of thing. But the one thing that I've always wondered, and I've asked around, is that when we were at the first anniversary at the park outside here, the minister for the Alberta government said that $180 million was coming to Jasper, and I simply can't find out where that $180 million is. And I've asked, various people that should know or told me they would know, and everybody really can't come up with it. So I think that's something that I'd like to find out, and I think the town should ask the provincial government for an accounting of it.
Thank you, Lori. I'd like to ask all candidates if there is any follow-up to that. Ashley Cleaver.
We really need to pick our priorities. So as a council and as a community, we need to figure out exactly what it is we're working towards. There's 1,000 things we could ask for, and we're not going to get all of them. So if we can really focus in on the 2 or 3 top priorities that are important to us and build proper business cases for it, then I think we can continue to build on these partnerships with the federal government and our provincial government.
Thank you, Ashley. Jason Stockfish, and then I'll take Ted, who was up before the 2 ladies, but Jason?
So I'm qualified to do this in relation to the question because, well, I studied political studies. I have an honors degree in politics. I understand how the 3 levels of government work together. I know the priorities of this town. We need another stream of revenue, and so working with the provincial government and the federal government to explain the value of our community and how much money we drum up in taxes for both levels of government, of which we don't get a part. We need to work on explaining that, the value of our community to them. And
thank you, Jason. And finally, Ted Turnbull.
Moving forward, it is imperative for us to deal with the national park, especially as the fire has proved. Mismanagement of the ecosystem surrounding our town is only going to stay. So if we don't properly deal with parks and manage the ecosystem surrounding us, we make another fire inevitable.
Thank you, Ted. Moving along to our next question. And after this question and selecting 3 randoms, we will take a small 5-minute break to accommodate anyone who needs to use the washroom, stretch their legs. But I will select 3 at random. Neil Mance, Ted Turnbull, Shanae Janes Wilson. And we will go Shawnee, Neil, and Ted. The question: what are your views regarding home tourist accommodations in Jasper?
Oh, well, you picked the right person to ask. As you all know, I ran a hotel for many years, so I stand a little bit on both sides. I also was a homeowner, and so I did have approved accommodation in my home, but I also ran a hotel. So I really have 2 sides, and at this point, where we're at right now in the community, I would have to say that with the rebuild and everything that has occurred, I would think that having approved accommodation would assist a lot of people to get ahead over the next few years while we're in this recovery period. So that is my thoughts on that.
Thank you, Shawnee. Neil Mintz.
Well, like Shawnee, I've been on both sides of the fence. I found myself on both sides of the fence here. I think tourist accommodation is an important part of our town. We are limited in size, and for that reason alone, we don't have enough accommodation in town, and I think home accommodation is an important thing to have.
Thank you, Neil. And last, Ted Turnbull.
I'm a bit conflicted with this question. My first thought being that local homeowners could certainly benefit from the proceeds in their pocket to support themselves moving forward and with the rebuild. And I certainly think it better in the pocket of local Jasperites as opposed to going to the United States through pursuit. So I definitely think it's a boon for local residents that have that opportunity. But where I become conflicted is knowing the housing issues in our community. So would those spaces be better allocated to finding residents for people in the town site instead of generating a stream of revenue?
Thank you, Ted. I'd like to ask if there's any follow-up by any of the candidates amongst you. Stephen Brake.
I'd just like to say I had an Airbnb. I'm actually tired of that platform. I think Jasper could have its own platform, maybe called Accommodations Jasper, something like that, where the 3% or whatever percentage that Airbnb takes would come directly back into the community and could go to the Chamber of Commerce, to Tourism Jasper, into some fund, like to support the seniors or whoever, somebody along those lines, something along those lines.
Thank you, Stephen. Ashley Cleaver.
Jasper real estate is incredibly expensive. It's hard to get started here. My husband and I bought our first home and had a tourist accommodation in it, and that is how we were able to get going. That being said, we do need to incentivize having accommodation for residents. So this could look in the ways of maybe modifying how we charge for business licenses. Town of Hinton, a business license is $1,500. So if you choose to have a tourist home accommodation, maybe you pay a separate tax bracket on your property taxes, or we look at different ways of issuing those business licenses to get money back in the community.
Thank you, Ashley. One last one from Wendy Hall.
Thank you. I like the private home accommodation. I think it gives the visitor a really unique experience, one that they wouldn't get in a hotel, and they meet the owner of the house. And I do agree that it helps pay those mortgages for first-time homeowners. And I think as we move forward and have an opportunity to build denser, we might be able to have more homes for long-term rentals online.
Thank you, Wendy. And with that being said, we will take a small break, reconvene for 8 o'clock. Washrooms, check the Jays game, someone let me know what's going on. But thank you so far for a great first half. Right, a 30-second call. If we could kindly get everybody back to their seats, our lovely candidates back on stage. 30 seconds. It is currently 6-3 Blue Jays, bottom of 4. We get everybody situated, please. For all of our candidates on stage, if it's a friendly reminder, if you can do your absolute best to get the microphone right in front of you when you're speaking, just helps bring the clarity and the sound up for our friends viewing online. So just try to get that microphone directly to your mouth. Thank you. Our next question will be at random in alphabetical order, as we had 4 names left before we transfer everyone back into the same pot. So those individuals, Danny Frechette, Wendy Hall, Jason Stockfish, Helen Keller Empey. Someone's before you, Wendy. The question: Jasper home and business owners face increasing municipal taxation levels, often related to infrastructure upgrades that support the visitor economy. Following the wildfire, the federal government agreed to relieve land rents for 3 years to support the community. Do you support a permanent elimination of land rent or discussions around the municipality receiving a portion of gate fees to offset the financial burden on a limited tax base while maintaining infrastructures over 2 million visitors annually? Danny Frechette.
Mike's not working.
He's not hot.
Correct. That was one question. Yes, sir. I can repeat it if you'd like.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to.
Sure. I can repeat it for all four here. Jasper home and business owners face increasing municipal taxation levels, often related to infrastructure upgrades that support the visitor economy. Following the wildfire, the federal government agreed to relieve land rents for 3 years to support the community recovery. I believe the question is, do you support a permanent elimination of land rent or discussions around the municipality receiving a portion of gate fees to offset the financial burden on a limited tax base to maintain infrastructure for over 2 million visitors annually? Danny Frechette.
Well, I think obviously if the community is going to be asked to sustain 2 million visitors a year and the burden it puts on our infrastructure, if that is a more equitable position for the community to be in, then that to me would be the proper way to do it. I don't know that the federal government would ever remove their land rent permanently. So maybe that may well be a way going forward that would help us to increase and improve our infrastructure, and that would sustain. It's 2 million visitors today. I mean, it could be 4 million visitors in 15 years. So that would be a question that you'd really want to look at going forward. I don't think you sell the goose. I think the tourists are going to continue coming, and that may well be the way to approach that.
Thank you, Danny. Wendy Hall.
Thank you for the question. I support any revenue in any capacity coming into our community to help with to help infrastructure. The province of Alberta has a $30 billion infrastructure deficit. That's all communities. Funding from other levels of government dwindle as the years go on. I think money from the gate has been talked about so much. It's kind of, I'm going to use a Councillor Demota, it's a pie in the sky idea, but I think it would make sense. I don't know that would happen, but again, I support any kind of extra revenue coming into the community.
Thank you, Wendy. Helen Keller-Hempy.
Can you hear me? No, I can. Yeah, I totally agree with it. Our businesses pay 5 to 1. We're the second highest community next to Banff for the highest business taxes. And I think if we could get $1 per visitor into the park per day, we would be able to help with our infrastructure going forward. And it's just be another alternative revenue for Jasper, and I think it's really worth trying.
Thank you, Helen. And last, Jason Stockfish.
That's right. Yeah, this is a key part of my platform, is pursuing a stream of revenue to help us maintain and build this infrastructure that our very small tax base is responsible for taking care of. 2.5 million people every year, and as Danny said, that's probably going up. But our tax base is going to remain quite small. So whether it's alleviating land rent or a cut from the gates, both of those seem pretty unlikely. But we need to pursue something. We need to advocate on behalf of this town the value that we bring to this province and this country, because everyone else is getting these tax dollars. We are not getting a stream of revenue to help us with this huge expense. And it's not fair. And I'm sure that I will do my darndest to sell the value of this community to our province and our country. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. I would now like to ask all candidates for follow-up. Gilly.
Thank you. The question was, would I support it? Yes, absolutely. Money from the gate, money from eliminating fees to town. And if they've already done it for 3 years, there's got to be a little bit of a precedent that they can do it, continue to do it. My question is, where would more of the revenue come from, the gate or the land revenue? And the other question is there another way that we could get money from the federal government? Thank you.
Thank you, Gilly. Is there any other follow-up? Cable Kongsrud.
Yeah, I thought that I had the best question, but this was a very good question too, and easy to answer. It's something that was on my platform of getting money from the gate especially, and I think it's the businesses that take so much pride in offering the services that we do, and the residents that are so friendly that makes Jasper the federal government's cash cow. And I think that they should be kicking in because we make Jasper what it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cable. Neil Mites had his hand up just before Cable. Neil?
I would say it's imperative that we get receipts from or some sort of money from the gate. I'm not sure what kind of dollars we'd want to bring in that way, but we have a country that when Jasper became a municipality here in 2001, we had a population of 30 million. We're now exceeding 41 million, 25% increase. They're all using our facilities here.
Thank you very much, Neil, for that. Appreciate the 3 follow-up questions. We will proceed on to our next question, and everyone's name has now been refreshed back into the pot, so we're going back to the well. Kathleen Waxer, Jason Stockfish, Cable, Kongsrud. We will be going Cable, Jason, Kathleen. The question. Through CMHC funding, the municipality is providing incentives to encourage secondary suites, carriage houses, and rentals. But without price protections, new units risk entering the market at levels many local workers still can't afford. Many residents are forced to pay well over the recommended 30% of gross income for shelter. Please outline ways that council could support housing affordability in Jasper. Cable Kongsrud.
Well, we need the staff, and we need everybody to live in adequate housing. I don't know the answer. I'd have to think more on it, think of it more than a minute, but I definitely believe that the staff needs affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Cable. Jason Stockfish.
Well, the municipality cannot enforce rent control. That's a provincial thing, and they don't do it. So, what the municipality can do, however, is create affordable housing to rent and to buy, which they've begun to do. Or the broken ground beside the Petro-Canada that was burned in the fire, that's a good start. Where the interim housing currently is, also zoned for residential and now serviced, build more affordable housing there as well. When the RCMP station moves to its new location beside, at the west end there by, whatever that Forest Park, thank you. There is also land behind where the new RCMP station that's going that is also can accommodate affordable housing. So there's a lot of places where we can build affordable housing owned or.
Thank you, Jason Stockfish. And the last answer to the question before we do some follow-up, Kathleen Waxer.
As Jason has indicated, the municipality of Jasper has recently broken ground on affordable housing, and I know that there's plans to look at more affordable housing in the future. I think one of the hopes is that as the housing stock increases and that there's not such a demand, that the costs will drop, and that and I think that there will always be at the council table a strong drive to continue to look at affordable housing, because that is the premise to making life in Jasper comfortable.
Thank you, Kathleen. I would now like to ask all candidates if there is any follow-up to the question just asked. Gilly?
Affordable housing is different for different demographics. Different people can afford different amounts for housing. There's some interesting models out there where businesses are coming together to create affordable housing. In Banff, the municipality is pairing with parks for affordable housing, so there are different solutions out there.
Thank you, Gilly. Ashley Cleaver.
I love that the municipality is stepping into this long-standing challenge that we've had in Jasper, and one of the things that we can control is our property taxes. So we can look at a model that incentivizes residents and business owners to provide staff accommodation and look at how those taxes can help the bigger pot.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm able to take one more follow-up if anyone up front here would like to take that question. Paco Artiega.
I am a hard believer that it it's hard to rent in this town. And as a homeowner, I was a renter once as well. It is really expensive to build in this town, but we can do it with the help of the council. And if we get together with parks, I do believe it is a solution to have affordable accommodation for everybody, as at one point we were all renters.
Thank you, Paco. We will proceed on to our next question. I'll go back to the well and select a random 3 names. Apologies, sweaty hands, a little sticky on the paper. Our next 3 questions will be directed towards Ralph Melnick, Lori Roger, and Shawnee James Wilson. Shawnee, Ralph, and then Lori. The next question, which was submitted, the current off-leash dog park has poor lighting and recurring hazards tied to its former land use, and the old skateboard park is too small to serve both residents and visitors. Would you support time sharing in Commemoration Park as an in-town off-leash space during non-event hours, perhaps on a pilot basis? Shawnee?
Wow. Can you repeat the question, please? Thanks, Troy.
It would be my absolute pleasure to do so.
Thank you.
The current off-leash dog park has poor lighting and recurring hazards tied to its former land use. And the old skateboard park is too small to serve both residents and visitors. Would you support time sharing in Commemoration Park as an in-town off-leash space during non-event hours, perhaps on a pilot basis?
Well, I am a dog lover, big time. So you're saying on a part-time basis, like a trial. I think it would be interesting to consider that, yes. I have not used the current dog area lately, but I know there's some issues there. Being in town would be nice, I think, for lots of people. And I'd be willing to give that a shot in an interim basis, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Shawnee. Ralph Melnick.
Are we on? We are. Being a previous dog owner and enjoying pet company, I think the off-leash park is an important part of our community, but I don't think having an interim off-leash park is the appropriate answer. I think finding a new place or another area which is appropriate for an off-leash park is probably far better spent than trying to do something on an interim basis. The interim basis on off hours is only going to be complicated for people. Somebody's going to not use it appropriately at the wrong time. People may or may not be picking up after their animal. We need a dedicated off-leash park, and I don't agree with this question.
Thank you, Ralph. And right next door, Lori Roger.
I'd be very much in favor of using the land for that, because the land's right in the middle of the park where it's accessible to everybody and easy to walk to, and it's not getting used all the time, so why not use it? I mean, a dog walk park is almost more important for the people as the dogs. The people gather together and get a little exercise and meet their friends, and I don't see the purpose of having land and not using it, so I'd be in favor of it. I don't think it's interim. I mean, it's a trial, and if it works, make it permanent.
Thank you, Lori. I now would like to direct some follow-up questions to any of the candidates up here on stage. We'll take 3, and starting with Paco Arteaga, that was pretty quick on getting that hand up.
As a soccer player, I'm going to say no, okay? We play soccer. Sometimes my dog has diarrhea, and it is really hard to pick after him. I will say no.
Thank you. Just right after Paco's hand went up, Danny Frechette got his hand up, so I'll give the mic to Danny.
Well, soccer beers are normally pretty soft, but no, I totally agree. I think that I'm a dog guy. I mean, and everybody I know seems to be. And you know, it is a bit of an embarrassment. We don't have a proper place for people in the middle of town to, you know, they're traveling through, they can get out, they can walk their dog around for 10, 15 minutes and socialize with people. I know in all of our travels, there's a real dog culture out there.
Thank you, Danny, for that.
Debate.
I appreciate that. We can take one more. Mr. Brake had his hand up there. Thank you.
I'm on the fence. I'm a dog lover. I have 2 dogs and a cat. Anyhow, I think somewhere maybe down on the east end of town, along Cannot, if that was fenced off, like between the town trail and the street, basically, would be a really good spot. Using the soccer field would probably ruin it, and it would be a lot of maintenance to fix.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for those 3 follow-ups. I will now head to the well again and randomly select 3 more candidates for our next question. Stephen Brake, Paco Artiega, Danny Frechette. 1, 2, 3. I am looking into the audience. Sometimes the hands get a little sticky, but so in alphabetical order, 1, 2, 3, Paco, Stephen, Danny. The question that was submitted: how would you advance truth and reconciliation within our community? How would you advance truth and reconciliation within our community?
Use that in a sentence?
Truth and reconciliation, September 30th. The question submitted was asking how you would advance that movement within our community of truth and reconciliation. Paco Artiega.
See, I hate my last name. Well, I do think that it's important to have a good communication with our indigenous. And talking to Deagle, I had a good conversation with him about this, and I think that we need to keep on pushing their art and try to help the arts a little more within the municipality.
Thank you, Paco. Stephen Brake.
There always should be an Indigenous basic culture in Jasper. I feel the Indigenous people are wonderful people. I've met many over the years, and the more we celebrate them and their culture, it's a great thing. Their whole lives have been basically crucified by us, right? And so we should celebrate them more. And more celebrations in town for them would be great.
Thank you, Stephen. Danny Frechette.
Yes, I think that Jasper's done an extraordinary job celebrating the Indigenous people. We've got a wonderful work of art at the side of the old fire hall. I got a chance to talk to the young artist. She's very proud of her grandmother. That's the picture there. We've got the wonderful Do Indigenous park in front of the information center. Like we did tonight, we acknowledged our Indigenous brothers and sisters. I think that Jasper does a tremendous job to celebrate our Indigenous family.
Thank you very much, Danny. I'd like to ask all candidates up on the floor for follow-up. Gilly Thomas.
So years ago, I was a teacher up in Pangnirtung on Baffin Island, and I brought the high school down here and exchanged. And I heard from a number of the students that were part of the exchange from Jasper what a profound impact that made on them for the rest of their lives. So I don't know what the opportunity is now to have an exchange with an Indigenous group in Alberta. If there is one, I would think that would be a wonderful way to increase or open a pathway for truth and reconciliation in Jasper.
Thank you, Gilly. I have the opportunity for a couple more. Wendy Hall.
Thank you, Troy. I'm proud of the work this council has done in this term, advancing truth and reconciliation, which was a key focus in our ED&I plan, which led to our very first Indigenous framework. Reconciliation isn't a checkbox, it's ongoing, it's personal, and I think the other big piece is Indigenous tourism.
Thank you very much, Wendy. I'm going to take the two because their hands went up at the same time. We'll go to Jason Stockfish and then Ashley Cleaver. Jason?
I've had the pleasure of meeting the descendants of a lot of the families that called Jasper home not very long ago. Great-grandchildren of people that had homesteads here, that called this land their home for millennia. We need to invite them here to tell us those stories that have been passed down from their parents and their grandparents, because this is very recent history. And if we understand...
Thank you, Jason, for that rebuttal. Thank you. And last, Ashley Cleaver.
I think back to how I learned about the Indigenous people of Canada in my education and what my children are learning now. I think we've made huge steps forward, but we can always do better. There's lots of work to be done, and I'd like to see more collaboration of our youth so they can learn from other Indigenous youth and we can start incorporating our lives together.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for all answering those questions. I'm going to draw three more names at random. Ted Turnbull, Wendy Hall, Helen Keller MP. Your favorite, Wendy, is first, Helen second, Ted the third in alphabetical order. The question submitted: what will you do to address daycare shortages? Parents put their babies' names on a list at conception and often don't get a spot until the child is at least 2 years old. Wendy?
Thank you very much for the question. And yes, as a mother of two children that went through our daycare program, it is very difficult to get in there. What we can do is advocate to other levels of government for funding. In fact, last week or 2 weeks ago, we received a $600,000 grant to build more daycare spaces. I think allowing more day homes would help because childcare is an economic driver, especially in a town with visitation as our main economy.
Thank you, Wendy. Helen Keller MP.
Thank you. Our current daycare is great and everybody wants to go there. The biggest problem is we have little space and workers. Workers are hard to attract, and that's due to lack of housing. We need to put a framework in place for more home-based daycares and work with the Alberta government and the federal government for funding.
Thank you, Helen. Ted Turnbull.
The obvious, quick, simple solution would, as previously mentioned, be to look at other levels of government for further funding or possible grants. I know previously councils have gone to the federal government looking for grants to ease the burden on our local daycare system. If that fails, then it's up to the municipality and the council themselves. As mentioned by other candidates earlier, we have to look at things and decide what our priorities are. Future generations need to be a priority, and so sorry, I hate your sign. If we can look like 7 months of hockey and have a better daycare system as opposed to 8 months of
Thank
hockey.
you very much, Ted, for that. We'll now allow 3 follow-up questions for those. Danny Frechette, first with the hand up. Thank you.
Yes, when my daughter was small, 2 years old or so, we had a wonderful gal look after her in her home. She had about 4 or 5 children. It was just a wonderful place for our daughter to be. I think that to institutionalize, I don't like to use that word, but I mean, I think, I can't see a reason why we can't license moms or dads or whoever would run it and have it in their home. I think that it would be a wonderful
Thank you,
relief.
Danny, for that. I'll take 2 more. Ms. Kathleen Waxer.
Thank you. I would say that one of the great challenges, as someone else said, is recruiting sufficient staff to operate a center, which leads to the systemic problem in Canada and probably in other parts of the world where we don't value the work of early childhood educators, and we need to pay them more appropriately.
Thank you, Kathleen, and it was a close draw between Gilly and Kathleen, so Gilly, floor is yours.
Thank you. Speaking to some women who and men who have young children, it's not only the problem of getting into the municipal daycare, it's also the hours that people work. And so some servers and people who are working on holidays and weekends just don't have daycare available to them. And that's something that needs to be addressed.
Awesome, thank you very much, Gilly, for that. We are down to 4 names left in the second round. This will be our last formal question which was submitted. We will then give all candidates an opportunity to summarize and follow up before the evening comes to an end. So let me grab the 4 names. Neil Mites, Gilly Thomas, Ashley Cleaver, and Eve Marchand. So we will be going Ashley, Neil, Eve, and Gilly. The question which was submitted: what opportunities do you see to build long-term resiliency during the recovery process so that Jasper is less vulnerable to future disasters and external shocks? Ashley?
I believe the community is doing a great job of developing the framework for programming for people of all ages and demographics in Jasper. The more we can make people feel like they belong and they're connected in Jasper, the more resilient we will be to anything that life throws at us. We know over the last few years we've had COVID, we've had this fire, and people are choosing to return to this community because they feel like they belong in this community. So if we can continue to create spaces and events where everyone feels safe and welcome, then that will best prepare us for anything that life throws at us moving forward.
Thank you, Ashley. Eve Marchand?
Well, I'm pretty drastic about clear-cut the pyramid bench. Basically, for me, is I think it's a no sense to get those trees up there still. I know this is ridiculous, but I'm looking at it from the west side coming up to here. It's still scary for me, honestly, for the future of Jasper. we're not talking about a full clear cut, we're talking about close to a clear cut to make me happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Yves. Neil Mites?
Well, as someone who's lost a home last year, and there's more than one of us on this stage, I'd like to see something done around the perimeter of town. I'd like to see a fire suppression system to prevent what happened to our town last year. I don't think going forward we can have something like that happen to our town again. It might very well be the end of us and end of our town. I don't think we want that. Well, I think we should investigate that possibility going forward.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Neil and Gilly Thomas.
I agree with what Neil and everybody says about the mitigation of the dead wood and perimeter of town protection. The fire department's done a great job at coming around and letting people know how to fire smart their homes and put sprinklers up so we could maybe have a humidity dome going forward. I also think it's important to look at environmental choices that we can make in our community and for our community. There's a lot of discussion around the e-buses, the electric buses. Looking at whether or not they're a viable solution is a good idea. Hybrid buses could be a solution. Maybe a mix of diesel, hybrid, and electric might be a solution. But seeing Jasper as an environmental leader in recovering from this fire would be a really wonderful thing for our municipality.
Thank you, Gilly, and thank you all four for answering that question. I just wanted to mention that there is just a few that haven't had an opportunity to follow up to any of the questions submitted and asked, and now is your opportunity. I'll take those three. I know who they are if they'd like to follow up. If not, I'd like to ask all candidates on the floor here if anyone would like to follow up with that question. Kathleen Waxer.
I just wanted to make the comment that Parks Canada did provide us a municipal council in the public forum with a very excellent presentation on the work that has been done in this last while, and that if you go back, I believe it would be on the municipal website to see the significant fire smarting work that has occurred this year. Bye.
Thank you, Kathleen. I'm more than willing to take two more follow-ups to the question. Danny Frechette.
Yes, I think short of cutting down all the trees, I think there's great measures going forward now with built-in sprinkler systems on the roofs of houses. The fire department is I understand, is supplying an opportunity to acquire those. I think it's up to each individual going forward. When we build, we've got great measures in place for construction materials that are not combustible. But I think there's great advanced technology for built-in sprinklers on the roofs, and those should be employed on every new build.
Thank you very much, Danny, for that response. I'm willing to take one more follow-up to the question. Ted Turnbull.
I feel like we're presented with a great opportunity now that such a significant part of the park has burned. We have all these tourists coming to see Wonderful by Nature, I think was the old slogan as you came into town. What we have for an ecosystem surrounding the town has never looked like this before. It's 200 years of mismanagement. If we don't manage the forest better going forward, Mother Nature will bring back the beetle. When you kill all the trees, fire.
Thank you very much, Ted, for that response. And thank you for all those that to follow up to the question. My final question isn't really a question per se. We will work in alphabetical order starting with our A's. Again, not really a question, but just an opportunity. You'll have a minute and a quarter to summarize anything, follow up on a question that you may not have had an opportunity to do so, but the mic is yours for a minute and a quarter, starting alphabetically. Paco Artiega.
Well, thank you, everybody, for coming out. Look, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. Everyone running is a great candidate and wants the best for this town. But I want to share something personal. After the fire, when we were finally allowed back into town, I was up first thing in the morning, ready to drive back. My wife told me we couldn't stay just yet. It still wasn't safe, but that didn't stop me. I made my choice to come back because I love this town. I chose to move here. Canada didn't move to me. I came here because I wanted to be part of this community. This town has my heart, and I want nothing more than to give back and help however I can.
Thank you, Paco. Stephen Brake.
I just like the budget to be balanced. And just some sort of way that we can get money to come into the community and not be going to some billionaire in the United States. Anyhow, that's it.
Thank you, Stephen. And we'll pass the mic along to Danny Frechette.
Yes, thank you everyone for being here tonight. And I'd like to first thank Councillor Wilson and Councillor Demana for their many years of service to the community. It's a well-deserved break for them both, and I wish them both well. And also everyone up here. And all of my fellow candidates up here. It's a sacrifice. Everyone should be commended for putting their names forward. It's a big haul. I think there's going to be a big lift ahead of us. But I believe we're well positioned. We've got a wonderful group of people that have been parachuted in here to help us work through this. And I'm really optimistic for the future. Jasper's going to look different. It's already changing. The people inside of our community are the ones that are going to make it to the next step. It's not about the council. I think anyone can be on council and do the legwork, the day in and day out legwork, but it's the people inside the houses, it's the people in the community. And there's so many great organizations here, from the Pathfinders.
Thank you very much, Danny, for your rebuttal there. Moving along, Wendy Hall.
Thank you very much. I just want confirmation for the back if Councillor Demota's crying. Jasper is my heart, and in just 10 days I'll be celebrating 30 years of calling this community home, three decades of shaping who I am. From running our bike shop and creating community, to serving on various boards and committees, to coaching local teams, and to completing my first term on town council. I've spent my entire adult life working to make Jasper better. I've spent my entire adult life working in community. The past 5 years haven't been easy. We faced a pandemic, the Chadman wildfire, and the devastating wildfire complex last summer, but through it all, we're still here, resilient, determined, and looking forward. As a councillor, my role is to keep us connected, to listen, and to lead with compassion and courage. And I truly believe there are better days ahead. This election is about leadership. It's about putting our political differences aside. It's about coming together to face challenges, embrace opportunities, and rebuild a stronger, more resilient Jasper.
Thank you, Wendy. Shawnee Janes Wilson.
Thank you, Troy. I want to thank the council for the last few years. They've been incredible, and thank you. It's been a year since the wildfire changed everything. We've begun to rebuild slowly, steadily, but the road ahead is still long. If I'm elected, I will listen, I will learn, and I will ensure every voice is heard. This recovery belongs to all of us. And I will work with you, and I will work for you in every step of the way. Let's move forward, united, determined, and hopeful. Thank you.
Thank you, Shawnee. Helen Keller, MP.
Thank you. As a new Canadian, I've lived in Jasper for over 30 years. With 12 years of experience on council, I'm ready to continue helping Jasper rebuild physically, socially, and economically. I have continuity experience, established relationships with the Alberta government and regional stakeholders. I'm asking for your trust and your vote to continue this work for the fourth term. I believe strongly that local issues require local solutions, and as you all know, I truly love our seniors, and I want to get Pine Grove rebuilt and bring our seniors home.
Thank you, Helen. Ashley Kleber.
I had seriously considered running in the last election, but then I took a hard look at my life, and with my children being 5 and 7 and my business being in its first 5 years, I recognized that that was just not the right timing for me. In spring of 2024, I launched a second restaurant that did not make it through the fire, but during the evacuation, I had many moments to really reflect on what my priorities are, and it's this community and my family. I want to see this community take something terrible and find the opportunities in it so that we can move forward and continue to be the great place where you have amazing interactions while buying bananas at the grocery store. I believe in the good, in the abundance, and in Jasper's possibilities, and I'm very busy and connected in the community, and I think that I represent a very important demographic that doesn't always have the time or capacity to be involved in some of these conversations. So thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Ashley. Cable Kongsrud.
Looking around, there is a lot of familiar faces, like I think I know 95% of you. And I just want you to know that if I'm privileged enough to get elected, I don't do social media, but I'm in front of my favorite coffee bar every day, and I will be as long as I'm here between like 9:30 and 11:30. And if anybody has any ideas or concerns, both like during campaigning or if I was to get elected, I am open to them, and I want to be a bridge and a liaison between the community and the muni, and I want to have a feel of what everybody's thinking. Thank you.
Thank you, Cable. Yves Marchand.
Tonight, I hear we need fund this, we need to fund that, a grant for this, a grant for that. I just realized, where is the money? Jasper is broke, folks. We have 25 million in debts. Where the money was going to come from? I'm looking at everybody here. We need so much money. I just don't realize where it's coming from for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years till the house is built and we pay more taxes. Sorry guys, Jasper needs people. We need 6 to support the mayor. We have to know how to add 10,000, 100,000, and millions of dollars to make sure the budget is under control. And we'll be able to say no to some funding of this or that. This is ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you, Yves. Moving along, Neil Mites.
We all love this town, or we wouldn't be here tonight. Recently, we faced one of the toughest challenges in our town's history, the wildfire. It changed lives, homes, and our sense of security. But it also revealed our strength and our ability to come together. As we rebuild, we have a responsibility to plan for the future. This means supporting families and making sure that our seniors, the people who built this town, have safe and affordable housing options. No one should have to leave the community they love just to find a place they can afford. Together we can make decisions that are fair, transparent, and focused on what really matters. Thank you for coming out this evening.
Thank you, Neil. Ralph Melnick.
Thank you, Troy, and thank you everyone for being here tonight. I decided to run for a second term on council as I wanted to see our community rebuild. I wanted to be stronger and better over the long term, and this is a process I'm willing to participate in. I'm committed to take the time to be ready for all regular council and committee meetings, reviewing agendas, reports, and be ready to ask questions about the context and the decisions we'll be asked to make as a council. And we've talked about budgets, and we've talked about priorities, and we've talked about needs and wants. I know from the past that it's 15 to 20 hours a week for regular meetings, additional council meetings, preparing for meetings, and that's just normal. I think unless, as a council, you're really to devote that time, you're not going to be as an effective representative for the community. I am willing to commit that time. I'll use my connections, my opportunity with other groups that I've been involved in. In closing, I respectfully ask that you consider selecting me as one of your choices on October 20th, and more importantly, that you actively encourage our residents to come out and vote in this election. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Lori Roger.
As most of you know, I practiced law in Jasper for about 40 years and was busy with all the land development and things when Cabin Creek got started, Caribou Creek and all these things. And I've been retired a few years, but just the last couple of years I started getting involved again with a couple of boards, the Jasper Senior Society Housing, the Jasper Municipal Housing Corporation, joined the Rotary Club, and more I'm ready to get back into providing what I can to the community. So I'd like to be back on council. I was a councillor for 9 years back in the 80s when it was the Jasper School Board, similar type of thing. But I'm ready to devote a portion of my time now and the experience that I've got to rebuild the town and try to do what I can. I still have more to give, I think, to the town. And of course, I love living here, and I want everybody to have a better town than it is right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laurie. Jason Stockfish.
Thank you, Troy. So, looking out here at all you people who took the time to come out here, 17 candidates, this is a healthy democracy that we have. And I'm a firm believer in direct democracy. I think the people's voices need to be carried to the council chambers, even when we don't necessarily agree. If I haven't knocked on your door already, I'm coming. And I will be there, more importantly, on the ground, listening to you after the fact. That's how we build a community together, right? That's how you get the community that you want, is by all of us taking part in it and offering our feedback, our ideas, our criticism, in a civil manner, right? And so housing, of course, has to be priority number one. Advocating on your behalf, on this community's behalf, so we can get that stream of revenue to help build and maintain our infrastructure. Listening and learning, as I just said, is how we're going to get there. So thank you so much for.
Thank you very much, Jason, for that. Gilly Thomas.
Hi, so I moved back to Jasper after the fire. I wasn't living here when the fire hit. I grew up here. I've returned home over the years to raise my daughter and to work periodically and to hang out with my mom and dad. And so I've kept a finger on the pulse of Jasper over the years. And I look out and I see tons of people that I know and lots of people I don't know. And in my job as a body-mind therapist, one of the things I do is I listen to people and I hear them. And I'm really interested in different perspectives. And when I look out at everybody tonight, I'm like, all of you guys have got so many different ways of looking at Jasper and understanding how Jasper can come through the rebuild, how it can be a wonderful small mountain town in the future. And I would really like to listen to what you have to say and bring it to council. I've never been a town councillor before, obviously. However, I love to learn, and I love to read, and I like to listen, and I like to represent people. So if any of those are in your quadrant of wanting to elect somebody, please consider me for councillor on October 20th.
Thank you
October
very much.
15th.
October 15th is the advance poll. October 20th is the poll. Thank you very much, Gilly. Theodore Ted Turnbull.
To some extent, I do agree with, I think it was Danny said Jasper is broken, but by no means is it beyond repair. I'm currently working on my third life here in Jasper. I moved here. I should have passed away from multiple strokes starting here in the Jasper town site, and now I'm back after the fire doing whatever it takes. It's not going to be tomorrow that everything is back to normal. There's no fun in normal. I studied history, so one thing that I've thought much about since the Jasper fires is some may or may not know the Colosseum in Rome was only possible to be built because of the fire in Rome. Considering Jasper's financial concerns, by no means do I suggest that we should build a Colosseum. Each of you that gets a new home, you will get to entertain, make memories, enjoy time together in those homes, not for 2,000 years like the Colosseum. To me, the Colosseum is our forest that needs to be protected.
Thank you very much, Theodore Ted Turnbull. And finally, last but not least, Kathleen Waxer.
Since 1980, Jasper has been my home. I was the Director of Community and Family Services for 36 years, where I was a fierce advocate for Jasper. I've raised a family, volunteered, sat on boards and committees, been actively involved in community activities, and served on council. These have all been incredibly rich experiences for which I'm so appreciative. In each of these roles, I brought a collaborative spirit, big picture thinking, a strong work ethic, civility, and a commitment to continuous learning and improvement. If re-elected, I will continue to show up at community events, chat with people about my council work, and listen to their perspective. I'm driven by the fact there's always something very important yet to be done, and I believe that in the aftermath of the wildfire, that social bonds and community connections are more important than ever. Social cohesion and community supports have been my life's work, so I believe I bring an important voice to the council table. I also wanted to say, I missed it in the last, I recognize that the business community has legitimate concerns about the tax burden, and that's why I'm proud that this council set a place for the next council to have that discussion early in the next term. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. Again, just a reminder for everyone and those viewing at home, this recording will be available and posted on the Jasper Park Chamber of Commerce on the YouTube channel. I would like to first and foremost thank all 16 candidates for dedicating your time here this evening, putting your names forward. I know it is a lot to do that and the sacrifices you need to make. I'd like to thank everyone in attendance this evening, coming out here and submitting those questions via our channels. I would like to thank our Jasper Park Chamber of Commerce staff, Nikki, Jolene, and Paul for all the efforts going into this evening. Our board members that are in attendance this evening and some that are not that have contributed to this night. And then Mr. Tommy Caravan for all of our incredible audio visual with Tim Pappas here. So I think we did pretty spot on at 9 o'clock and got through a lot of questions, and we know everyone's time is valuable, so I believe, again, thank you. October 15th is the advanced polling, which I will be there for that one, as I'm not available and out of town for the election day, Monday, October 20th. So thank you very much again, everyone. Please get home safe and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.